Hi, everybody. Welcome to this autumn, our first autumn webinar. It's great to have you all here. My name is Dale Spafford, and I am going to be your host and a presenter for today's session. I'm based in Nonthaburi in Thailand. Nonthaburi is just outside of Bangkok. So can you just so I can check systems are working, that you can put into the chat where you are where you are from. Min Win from Vietnam. Hi there, how are you? Colin from Thailand. Hi, Colin. Whereabouts in Thailand are you? Colin, guys here. Hi, Guy. Yeah, it's a bit cloudy today, isn't it? Yeah. I've just put the wash out. Well, I didn't just put the washing out, but the washing's been out. I'm hoping it's going to dry. Hi, everybody. Okinawa in Japan, Vietnam, Bang Sen, Pattaya. Oh, yes, I'm going to the beach this weekend as well. I'm taking some time off, but not Pattaya. I'm going to Hua Hin. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for giving up your time. We do appreciate it. If you have any questions, then please pop them into the chat box. You can use the chat box for any questions you have throughout the session. And we also have the Q&A tab as well. So please feel free to use the Q&A tab, and we will answer your questions either during the session, or we will have a bit of time at the end to answer some questions as well. So today's session is the first of 3 sessions, a trilogy of sessions. And today we're going to be looking at Chat GPT to plan lessons, and maybe a little bit of other elements of AI, but mainly it will be Chat GPT. And as I said, we've got 3 sessions coming up starting from today. If you want to hear more about what we're doing here at Macmillan in terms of our professional development and our product ranges and anything that you'd like to know about Macmillan, please follow us. You can follow us on Facebook, or you can follow us on WeChat as well, where we will post upcoming events and also any products that we've got coming out to keep you informed. You will get a certificate. We recognize that this is important to you. For all the webinars, or the 2 webinars that we have, you will receive a certificate for each one. And that will be sent to you in a thank you email, which will include the recording. And you can then share this with your colleagues. But please be patient. It might not come immediately. And also check your spam folders if you haven't received it. For the 3rd session, which is what we call an ELT time, there are no certificates for this one, but for 1 and 2, you will receive a certificate. So please stand by for that. We will also like to keep you informed about an initiative that we have running at the moment called Changemakers. Changemakers is an exciting new global initiative. So it's across the whole world. And what it does, it helps our students understand sustainable development goals and gives teachers and students an opportunity to share what they're doing in the class. This is a kind of a global or a central hub for students and teachers to share inspiration of what they're doing to help the world become better. And it's designed to share knowledge and develop skills and promote attitudes, and also, most importantly, actions when it comes to delivering lasting change. So have a look at our website and you can see examples of students' work and what they are doing across the world. As I said, we have 2 webinars coming up. So today we have a webinar on ChatGPT, and then on next week, we will have, on next Wednesday, we will have a session with Blue and Super, and they will be continuing the discussion on on AI. And also we'll be inviting people to come and join us in this session. So we'll be inviting questions from the audience for them to come on, open up their microphones, open up their cameras, and to join us with this session. So it'll be very interactive and a live Q&A session at the end. We also have, after that, we'll have our 3rd session, which is our we have a very esteemed guest, Mr. Hoc from Vietnam, who is the author of The Art and Science of Chat GPT in Education. And he'll be joining us for a really special ELT Time Plus, where he will we'll be having a conversation with him about AI and what it means in education. So let's get started with today's session and looking at how ChatGPT can help us plan our lessons. So let's meet the speakers. Now, you've already met me. There I am. And we also have Super as well. Hiya, Super. How are you?
Hi, Del. Nice to see you. And hi, everybody. Great to be back with our autumn webinars.
Yes, the people who've joined us before will know that Super is joining us from Shanghai. She is our senior regional teacher trainer and academic consultant in our Shanghai office. How is it in Shanghai today, Super?
It's quite sunny outside and a little bit like with some beautiful clouds hanging on the sky, and still in the summer, not very cool yet.
Right.
Yeah, looking forward to the autumn already, although it's the autumn webinar season, right?
Yeah, it's late summer stroke autumn. Yeah, I guess we could say that. All right, well, Super's going to be coming on a little bit later. I'm going to start today's session. I'm going to start with 3 things that I'm going to discuss. So I'll show you my agenda and we'll welcome Super back in about 25 minutes. See you in a minute, Super.
Yes. See you. Enjoy your session.
Thank you. And just a little bit of housekeeping. If you notice, my head at the moment is looking at you in the camera, but I will be looking up. And it's not that I don't want to look at you in the camera. I have another screen here with my with other things that I need to take care of. So please forgive me if I'm not looking at you. I'll try and keep my eye line straight, but if I can't, it's because of that. So let's have a look at what we're going to look at today. So I have 3 points in my agenda. The first thing I'm going to talk about is lesson planning. So how can we use, or how can we advance our lesson planning by using ChatGPT? I'll hopefully show you some efficiencies that you can take away from today's session. Now, people are raising their hands. Okay, unfortunately, I can't respond to every hand that's been raised. If you have a question, please put it into the chat. Thank you. And number 2, I will be talking about differentiation and how we can really help our students, regardless of their level, by using ChatGPT to make it more inclusive, our lessons more inclusive. And this will be in the form of, mainly in the form of reading texts, but a simple prompt can really help us do that. And I'll show you how we can do that. Differentiation, also called mixed ability. And we always get questions about how can you help us with mixed ability. So I just wanted to show you a little bit, a very small tip using ChatGPT, how you can address mixed ability in your class. And then finally, I've got the word vocabulary. Now I've chosen vocabulary, actually, you'll see that in the lesson plan as well, but I've chosen vocabulary because it's usually the first thing that we teach in each of the units. If we're using coursebook material, the units usually start by presenting vocabulary to our learners. And I just wanted to show you some really simple AI tools that can help you with word lists and translation of vocabulary. Okay, sound good? Let's get started. So here's a sample lesson plan. This is a real lesson plan, you can tell, because it's got the red lines underneath. I actually used this lesson plan a long time ago in my diploma, but it's probably the standard lesson plan that I would use, or the standard format for what I would use. It's got aims, procedures, time, material, stages, that kind of thing involved. And I loved planning lessons. I really enjoyed it. It was something that I took great pride in. I think it's the most creative part of teaching. You can really address the needs of your learners, and we're always looking for help to help with lesson plans. So here I am with my ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you how I can utilize ChatGPT to enhance lesson planning. So this is the lesson that I'm going to look at. I've taken materials from our new primary course called Learning Well, really fantastic new material, which helps younger learners, so primary learners, grade 1 to 6, learn English. Obviously, we've got vocabulary and grammar and the 4 skills. We've got 21st century skills, critical thinking, all the CLIL elements, and in addition, we have a really special element to this, and it's called the Wellness Book. What it does, it addresses students' social emotional learning needs and gets them thinking about their emotions and how they can manage their emotions. It's a really fantastic book that helps children with English, but also with their well-being, vital after what the kids have been through in COVID-19. Now, it's such a great book that it does have lesson plans already included, okay? And you will see the teacher's guide and the teacher resources is very thorough, but it doesn't matter whatever lesson plan we have in front of us, we can always make that better. And that's what I want to show you today by taking you through what Chat GPT can do and maybe spurring you on to try some things yourself. So here's our lesson. It's a grade 3 lesson, and it's all about animals. So this is lesson 1, vocabulary, and we've got these list of animals: the owl, the bat, the butterfly, frog, lizard, snail, spider, etc. So I'm going to just pop across to Chat GPT now. That's my word list. Okay, can you just say yes or no? You can see that in the window, Chat GPT now, right? Just let me go. Okay, perfect. I just have to check just in case. I can see it on my screen, but I'm just checking you can. So this is the Chat GPT screen. It's completely blank. You'll see on the left-hand side, here is the history. There's no history in my, I've gone from a complete blank slate today. And I'm going to ask Chat GPT a question that I have prepared already. And I'm going to ask it to prepare me and prepare an English lesson for this list of words. Okay, so there's my list of words, and I'm going to ask it to do that. So here we go. Let's see what it comes up with. Just give it a sec. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you can see it's giving me lots and lots of advice, lots of help. And it's finished. Okay, so what have we got here? Well, we've got the title of the lesson. We've got the objectives. Now, look at the objectives. What I really love about these objectives are they are written from the student's point of view. Now, that's really smart of ChatGPT. I didn't learn to write lesson aims or objectives from the student's point of view till I was a few years into my teaching career. I always wrote lesson aims that were mine, the teacher aims. So today I will teach the present perfect for experience. I never thought about how it was written from a student's point of view, and therefore the outcomes would be much more related to what the students can do rather than what I did in the lesson. Very subtle, but very important. So the students will be able to identify and describe. Really nice, okay? We got an introduction, a presentation, some practice, some discussion, a creative activity, and a conclusion, and even some homework. Pretty cool, right? That's really nice. But I might go look through that now, and if I took that into a lesson, started teaching it, I may need it. It may just be like surface level, not deep enough in terms of what I need as a teacher. So I can make this a little bit more specific. All right. Now remember, what grade am I teaching? Do you remember what grade I'm teaching? Grade 3, Colin, yeah. So let's add that into the prompt now. So, and also I'm going to add another important word to see if it will give me a different idea. So have a look at this prompt now. So prepare a communicative English lesson for grade 3 students with this list of words. All right. So let's see what it comes up with that. Okay, so it's going through the similar thing. And here you can see in the outcomes that we've got students will be able to identify and describe like it did in the first lesson, but now express preferences and engage in simple conversations. All right, so this is really cool now. So it's going a bit, it's a speaking activity now to take into that element of communication, communicative activity. All right, so now I can keep adding to this. All right, so if I want to now continue with this, but I want to change the outcomes. So I'm going to ask it now to prepare a communicative English lesson for grade 3 students. And I'm going to make the outcome of the presentation, a presentation of the children's favorite animal. So let's see what it comes up with. And again, you can see it's going through, giving me the materials. And again, I would have a look at this. I might need to add something to it, but it's doing exactly what I've asked it to do in terms of the presentation, discussion, and reflection. Now, one thing that we might want to consider is, and I'll use the prompt for this, the voice prompt. You can use the voice, get the voice prompt from Google Extensions, and I'll show you that in a moment, actually. So while children are presenting, one thing that I always notice is that the children who are not presenting are not listening. So I might ask Google, I might ask ChatGPT if it can help me with this. Can you provide me with an activity for children to do while the other children are presenting their work? Okay, so here we've got some nice activities now. It's saying animal bingo. So while the other children are presenting, the children have got something to do, and it's providing me with these activities. Can you give me another activity similar to the previous one? And I can keep going, generating more and more activities as I go through. So this is what I'm going to be using ChatGPT for when it comes to these lesson plans. You can ask it to provide you with a model dialogue. If you want children to talk about their favorite animals, provide me with a model dialogue, and it will give them a model. You can put that on the board and then have children practice changing the words in the model dialogue for their words. Really, the limit, there's so much that can go on with ChatGPT in terms of how it can support you with lesson planning. And what I suggest you do is practice with it. There are a couple of what I think are good guidelines, and I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint here. When you are planning lessons with ChatGPT, make sure you set the context. So the context obviously of mine was the context of animals. I wanted a communicative lesson. I stated my intentions, exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be clear about the level, so I knew exactly the level that I was at. I wanted to stage my prompts, so I did it very systematically. I didn't ask for the a worksheet at the start and then the lesson plan at the end. And I saved my prompts. Now, whenever I'm using ChatGPT, I always save what I'm going to put in. Now, you can do that in the history, but it's kind of hard to go back and find your prompts and what you've asked it. Prompts are the questions that you ask it. The great thing about ChatGPT is if your prompts are good, then the results will be good. If your prompts are not so good, then the results won't be any good. So anything that you get good results from, save that prompt, copy, paste it into a file, and then you can reuse those prompts later on. The next thing I'm going to look at is differentiation, mixed ability. And let me just check my time here. Okay, I've got 10 minutes. This is good. So this is from a course book called Gateway to the World. And this is a secondary course book. This level is B1. And what we have here is a double page spread. This is our Great Learners, Great Thinkers spread. And what it does is it helps students with lots of different aspects. So obviously their English, but also with their critical thinking, also with their social emotional learning, which is signposted at the top here, being flexible. We have some visible thinking routines that students can practice. And we also have a text here. Now, if I'm a teacher, I'm always going to find that my classes are mixed ability, that it's going to be easy for some students and more difficult for others, and for some at the perfect level. But your class is never going to be, unless you teach one-on-one and your student is at that perfect level. If you have a group of students, they're always going to be different. It's something that we have to consider. They're not going to be at the same level. So how can we use ChatGPT to change the level of a text without changing the fundamental meaning of what the text is trying to put across? Okay, so I've got this blog here that you can see on this page. Now I'm just going to give you 1 minute just to scan the blog. Okay, you don't have to read it in detail, just quickly scan through this so you get an idea of what we're reading here and the level. While you do that, I'll just quickly check the text, the chat. Chenlong, that's a really good question in the chat, and I will be addressing that. Well, I won't be addressing that, sorry. We'll be addressing that in webinar number 2. We also have had some teachers for their questions, and this is a question that's come up quite a lot. So we'll be talking about that next Wednesday, plagiarism and ChatGPT. Okay, so I think you've had enough time to just quickly scan that. And like I said, I'm not going to be asking you questions about it. I just wanted to get you a general understanding and to look at the level of vocabulary so that you can compare it when I do compare it with the ChatGPT. So let me go back to ChatGPT. All right, now I'm going to start a new chat for this one. And I'm going to ask ChatGPT to do something for me. Just let me get my prompt across. So, can you please rewrite the following text so that it can be read by a beginner student? Okay, give me a moment and I will post in the text. So here comes the text. And let's see what it does. So if we just look at the first sentence here, a friend recently announced that she'd drawn up a detailed career plan for the next 25 years. Let's have a look at this one. My friend recently told me, not announced, about her big plan for the next 25 years. So you can see already how it's made it a little bit simpler, but it hasn't changed the meaning in any way. All right. So just very simply, I did that in literally, what, 12 seconds, something like that. So fast to do that. Now I'm going to ask it now to do a similar thing, but I'm going to ask it to make it more advanced. So let's see what it does. Can you rewrite the original text to make it more advanced for C1 level learners? Now, if you're reading that quickly, you'll be seeing already that it is really quite advanced. So if we have here a close associate, obviously associate is a friend, divulged, meticulously, roadmap, quarter century. So it's really quite advanced. So I might go back to it and say, that's great, but it's a bit too advanced. can you make it, let's say, CEFR level B1 plus, please? And again, it knocks it down again. So you can really look at these texts. If you analyze them, if you put them through a Lex Tutor or a website that analyzes the CFR level, you will see that it is actually, it does say what it's doing. It fits those levels. So I don't know how it does it, but it really is a pretty fantastic way that it can do it. And then I can also say, can you now provide some comprehension questions for the texts that you provided for me? Can you provide questions for all of the texts, please? Sometimes it gets a bit sticky. Here we go. So in addition to the text, I got the questions as well, which is really fantastic and a really helpful tool. I would suggest with any of these AI tools, though, that you do before you just print these out and give them to the students, you do look through them and make sure that they are what they say they are, because like anything, it can make mistakes. It's not 100% perfect, but most of it is. All right, so now let me go back to my PowerPoint, and I will have just a few minutes now to show you some really cool tools for vocabulary. So this one, I've taken the vocabulary from a primary course that we have called Share It. This is a primary course book. Again, similar to Learning Well, teaches all of the vocabulary and grammar that your students will need, plus all of the skills. Includes some great ways of introducing culture to your learners through stories and the values that are important to our students. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this vocabulary and make some word lists. Now, often courses will have word lists available to them, but sometimes they don't. Or if you're using your own materials, you might not have word lists available, but they can be very useful, particularly when it comes to differentiation. So you can see my screen here now. I've created a Google Sheet, not an Excel, a Google Sheet. All right, I'm going to put my words into the box on the left-hand side, or the cells on the left-hand side. Now I could, what I want to do is give some translations for my weaker students to make sure that they have a glossary of the words that we're learning in the class, that they can then, that will help them obviously, hopefully remember the words. So in the translation, if I go to the formula bar at the top here, I can simply type equals, whoops, that's the plus sign. It's very dark in my room. Equals, and then Google, and it will see I get the Google Translate. Now, all I need to do now is write a very simple formula, A2, comma, the language, English, in speech marks, comma, the language I want to translate it to. I live in Thailand, so I'm going to choose Thailand. The code is TH, speech marks, and then close brackets. All right. Now we will share this with you, or you can watch the recording if you don't hear it. And when Super's talking, I'll put this formula into the chat for you. And you simply press enter. And there's the translation. Now anybody who's Thai can check the translation. I can simply pull that down now, and it will translate all the words very, very quickly for me. All right. Now, I can do that for words. I can then get students to write example sentences, add the part of speech, maybe pronunciation. They can fill that in themselves if they want to. Again, you need to check the pronunciation because it's not going to be 100% right. I'll show you one more. If you are Vietnamese, you might be interested in this one. Your code is VI. So if I put that there, and then scroll down, boop, and then easy. 2 minutes. You're not copy and pasting every word into Google Translate. Very, very simple to do this. And then finally, the last one, and again, for all the languages that Google translates, all you need is this simple formula. Pop that in, enter, and we have another language of Chinese. I'm not sure about walk, why it hasn't translated walk. Maybe one of my colleagues can tell me why. You get the idea, right? It's really fast, really easy to use, and saves a ton of time. You can give this to the learners before they do the reading, or after they do a reading, or after they've done the vocabulary activity, and it will really help them. Okay, that brings me to the end of my time. So I'm going to invite Super to come back up. While we're waiting for Super, I would like to share with you this really interesting quote. AI will not replace teachers, do not worry, but it will replace those teachers who do not use AI, all right? So as long as you're using AI, you'll be fine in your teaching. This is what I believe. Now, I've had discussions with colleagues about this, and some of them don't agree with me, and that's also fine too, because it's also a good discussion point, I think. AI and Chat GPT and all these tools might not be for everybody, but I hope that today I've given you, in this short space of time, some cool ideas that you can go away and help you and enhance your lessons. All right, I'll see you back in 25 minutes for a Q&A. I'm going to look in the chat now and collate any questions that you've got, and I'll be back for 10 minutes at the end when we'll have a discussion and a Q&A. Super, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dell. And yeah, great ideas from using ChatGPT to plan your lessons and also to do some differentiation as well as teaching vocabulary. So I'm going to share my screen now with you. Let me know if it's okay. And yes, I saw a lot of discussions are going on in the chat, which is, quite, I resonate a lot with teachers out there who are teaching at the same time thinking about how we could use ChatGPT to, wait a second. How we could use ChatGPT to make our teaching more effective and more engaging as well. So can you guys see my screen okay? Does it look all right? I think I need to move this, wait a second, because I have two screens as well.
It looks all okay, Super, to me.
Yeah, okay, great. So following Dell's part, I'm going to introduce you about 3 ideas how we could use ChatGPT to create games and activities to engage our students, how to help the teaching and the learning of speaking and writing. So because I think ChatGPT and all the AI tools are quite new, I am here to explore together with you about how we could better make use of the tools to make our teaching more time-saving and at the same time more engaging and effective as well. So before we start, I also would like to share with you about one article written by OpenAI, which is the company who created ChatGPT. So they just released an article about teaching with AI. So they provide a specific guidance for teachers and educators about how we could better use ChatGPT for our teaching and education. So there are a lot of suggestions and advice and ideas provided by OpenAI there. If you're interested, you could also check that out. But what I would like to share is anything we do with ChatGPT, you don't have to concern too much because we are still the expert of teaching English as an English teacher, as with years of experience. ChatGPT, any models, any models like ChatGPT may not always be correct, and they do not always produce correct information. You are the one who choose to use it or not. You are the one to pick the content you would like to use in your classroom from the output of ChatGPT or other models. So yeah, we as English teacher are still the decision maker, and also you are the expert of your class and your students. So remember that. Based on the idea of we are the decision maker, we need to make decisions and make a reasonable and good choose the right content for our class. So let's kick off with the first point I would like to share. That is how to give better prompts. In order to create the right content, in order to find the right information, we need to give the right prompts. So always remember the 4A or the 4W. Yeah, both of them will work. You need to set the context for ChatGPT, and also you need to give the specific instruction for ChatGPT to produce the right content for you. So you need to let the ChatGPT know who you are, who you would like the ChatGPT to be, and what's your aim. Yeah, what you are going to do, and also ask specific requirements and requests for to align with you, and any additional information or anything you want at the end should be specified as well. So when you follow this model, these two models to give prompts, I think it's more effective to get what you want. So let's start from games and activities first. So in terms of games and activities, I was thinking about the young learners, the very young learners is specifically, because when I do my research about how to use ChatGPT to better plan my lessons, I find most of the content are relevant to adult learners, university students, a lot of high level teaching and learning. However, when it comes to younger learners, especially the kindergarten students, the pre-primary students, is there anything else we could do to engage this age group? Is there anything else ChatGPT can help teachers to prepare lessons for this age group? So I have this question in my mind. So I started asking ChatGPT about what you can do for me. So I asked him about, how can you help me with teaching English to very young learners? And here comes a list of things he can do. So there are lesson planning, vocabulary, storytelling. There are also games and activities, phonics, grammar, and stuff like that. So quite a lot of things you can do. So I'm particularly interested in games and activities because very young learners, they're always have very short attention span. They get distracted very easily. So when we teach very young learners, we always have challenges and the difficulties in classroom management and engagement as well. So I asked ChatGPT if I am teaching Doodletown Second Edition, which is a pre-primary course book from Macmillan Education. Level 1 is for age maybe 4 to 5 years old. And the unit I am teaching right now is called My Toys. So I asked him if I am using Doodletown and I'm teaching the unit of My Toys to a group of 5 years old, what kind of things you could do? What kind of games and activities you can create for my lesson? So here I gives a very specific prompt for ChatGPT. So can give me a game bank with activities that I can do as fillers to engage 5 years old ESL students while teaching the unit of toy. So this is a very specific about who I am and what I'm going to do, what's the objectives, and what I would like you to come up with. So give very specific information and prompts. And he comes up with a quite decent list as well. I am not doing live ChatGPT because I am a little bit concerned about the internet here in Shanghai and China. So I just did all the screenshots for you. So have a check about the games and activities ChatGPT comes up. So there are hide and seek games, musical toys where we can do as a circle time game. Toy memory game can be a good one for vocabulary practice. And there are also charades, toy charades, where students can engage by playing doing body movements to show a lot of TPR as well. A lot of another game, sorting game, to practice their cognitive abilities. Yeah, and also including maybe some building blocks like Lego, and also show and tell games, puzzle games, bingo games. Yeah, a lot of games are there. Like also we can do like toy story time to engage stories, and also race and parades as well. So let me know in the chat which activity and game do you like best from the list. So do you find any of these games or activities engaging or like great for any of your young learners? Oh, this is not a paid account. This ChatGPT I am using is a free account. Yes, let me know in the chat which of these games do you think is good for very young learners if you are teaching any of like young learners in the classroom. And yeah, so I find like 12 like games that I can use, and I particularly interested in maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of them. For example, the bingo game, yeah, could be a good choice. Toy race could be good as well. Yes. Number 10, story time. Yes. Number 11, music choice. Yes. So you might find some of them particularly interesting, and then you can move on to ask ChatGPT to come up with a step-by-step teacher's guide. For example, I want to do a toy bingo game. So could you please give me a step-by-step teacher's guide on the bingo game? And also you can include specific information. For example, the target vocabulary here we are doing is boat, car, doy, bear, van, and truck. So I want the game to include these words, so you can find out the step-by-step teacher's guide here. So it's quite comprehensive with the objective there, materials needed to prepare, and what preparation should be done before we do the game, and then a step-by-step like implementation guidance from introduce the game to distribute the cards, and then to explain the rules, and also with suggested like a times like how long we should spend in each step. Of course, we can be flexible. This is just a guidance for us to refer to, but still it provides a really good framework and a structure for us to follow. And then you will know how the students can win the game, and how we could also celebrate and repeat for another round. And further discussion and extension activities are also suggested. So after playing the bingo game, what could we do for language practice? For example, in the discussion, we can talk about more to encourage students to share, and also some extension activities, for example, drawing or coloring activities can be good for this age group to calm down after a very interactive and engaging game. Yeah, so this is one example of how we could make use of games and activities by giving specific instruction to ChatGPT and ask him to come up with a plan and also a guidance on how we could implement the game and do the game. Yes. And next, maybe we can move on to another case. For example, I am still teaching the unit of toys, and the focus of phonics of this unit is the T sound. So on this page, you can see the phonics lesson there. So we introduced the capital letter and then the small letter T, and then there is a small like a chunk there, 2 turtles on the table. And we will introduce T sound in this lesson. And there is also, of course, a very comprehensive lesson plan on Judo Tongue for you to follow. And you can introduce T sound by using the audio, the chants, the video also there to give students more ideas about what the sound is and how to use phonics knowledge to sound out the words there. However, if you want to extend a little bit more about the phonics like activity, you can, of course, extend on that. So for example, you still give instructions to ChatGPT, like I'm going to teach an English lesson to a group of pre-primary students, 4 to 5 years old, about toys. The phonics focus of the unit is T. Can you give me some chants, rhymes, and games to practice the phoneme T? So this can provide you with more about ideas and activities you can do while teaching the phonics lesson of the unit. So yeah, there are good chant, good rhyme, and also 2 suggested games there for you to choose. And if you're not happy with these results, you can regenerate as well. So yeah, but be careful about the rhyme and the chant. Sometimes the language can be too challenging or creates like extra work for your pre-primary students to learn. So you need to double check the chant language and also to include maybe some of the words we have already learned instead of the new words they have not learned before in the previous vocabulary lesson, and also go through these like chant together, like the teacher will model and the student will follow, and to think about any follow-up activities you can do to further practice and reinforce the sound after chanting. Yeah, and the rhyming as well. Yeah, sometimes the rhyme language can be too difficult. You can ask him to regenerate with simpler language or shorter rhymes to practice the target words and vocabulary as well. Yeah, and the toy treasure hunt and the pass the toy games can be good to focus on the t sound instead of other like words or target vocabulary to make the practice of the phonics work. Okay, and also if you're interested in finding songs and videos, you can also ask ChatGPT. However, ChatGPT will not like suggest you with links directly. Yeah, but there are good ideas of what song you could look for, what like website and apps, or what resources you can go to for more videos and songs you can find to match your lesson plan, your lesson objective, the sound t. And yeah, so this is some good information for you to further explore like materials you would like to use in your classroom. Okay, so this is the first part about how we could create games and activities using ChatGPT for pre-primary students, especially the younger ones. Yeah, and the next example I would like to introduce is about speaking. So speaking could be, yeah, something really challenging for our students, especially for some adult students as well. So this is an example from our adult like course book called Speak Your Mind. It is a book with the primary goal to improve adult learners speaking. Yeah, as you can find from the title, Speak Your Mind. So I will use the level 1 unit 6 as an example here. So this unit is about social media and the internet, which is quite relevant to our day-to-day life. And this is the unit opener, where the students are going to think of words about social media and the internet and write the words and draw icons of apps they use. Yeah, so this is a brainstorm like activity the students are going to do before they start to talk about the topic. And they're going to do pair work to share their words and information with each other as well. So in order to prepare for this brainstorm activity for better like support your students to brainstorm and to discuss, what we can do with ChatGPT is, so set the context, give the prompts for ChatGPT. So I am an English teacher of a group of A2 adult students. We're working on a unit about social media and the internet. We're going to do a brainstorm game to activate students' prior knowledge about a topic. Can you come up with a list of words about social media and the internet? So this is going to be the context for this activity. So as the more information you give to the ChatGPT, the better information you're going to get from the output. So yeah, a list of 50 words are there for you to use. So the students, of course, they will bring in their own words. However, sometimes they could be they could be limited to their own maybe knowledge or cognitive understanding about the topic, or they just simply can't remember much. Or yeah, so as a teacher, we could prepare a list of words. After doing the first round of brainstorm, you could hand out maybe a list of words for students to choose, to maybe ask the students to find the top 5 words which are most relevant to their own social media life and the use of the internet. And also you can ask them to sort this list of words into different groups in terms of different like categories. And also you could ask students to exchange their most favorite like words or keywords about the social media and the internet. So give students more ideas to extend their discussions about. Yeah, and this is some preparation work you could do for the speaking task before you even start to ask your students to do speaking tasks. This is some brainstorm activities. And if you would like to do more brainstorm activities, and you can also ask ChatGPT to come up with some other brainstorm activities. So here are some very good ones. So you ask your students to come up with 2 lists about the positive and negative aspects about using social media and the internet, or their favorite social media platforms. Yeah, come up with their most frequently used social media platforms and compare with each other to do a pair work. And also discuss something about like social media influencers. Their most favorite social media influencer could be a very attractive topic for them to start the brainstorm and the discussion. So here are some other brainstorm ideas for you to use. And for more specific use of the speaking task, I think we can look at an example here. So this is the speaking task they're going to do in this unit, lesson 2, vlogging. So they will they will read some text about vlogging and look at the vloggers and topics about vlogging. And then they move on to do the speaking task, about a role play between 2 vloggers. So student A will be the music vlogger, student B will be the skateboarding vlogger. So this is something quite challenging for students to come up with, because they are not maybe a vlogger themselves, or they probably don't know like music or skateboarding very well. So in order to support your students to do the role play successfully, we can ask ChatGPT to give you some model texts. So model good like conversations before you give your students some speaking tasks can be a good scaffolding for them. So again, give ChatGPT a very detailed and specific like prompt. For example, the students level A2 adult learners, you are the English teacher, we're working on the unit of social media. The focus is speaking. Please model a role play between student A, a music vlogger, and a student B, a famous skateboarding vlogger, and ask and answer questions to find more about your partner. So give specific like task to ChatGPT, and then see what it comes up. So it's quite good, right? So this conversation seems to be very authentic between 2 vloggers. So saying hi to each other, asking each other about what vloggers you do, and also asking about your favorite vlog so far you did, and also giving very good actions and responses to each other, and also talking about the challenges they have when they do vlogs and being a vlogger, and also come up with some ideas to how to overcome these challenges, and then end the conversation. However, you might find this conversation or role play too long or too challenging for an A2 level student. So you want something shorter and easier. So can you make the dialogue shorter than 3 rounds? So this is what we have got after this prompt. Looks quite simple and easy now. So still covering about greeting each other, and how long have you been vlogging, and what's your favorite vlog, and also any exciting upcoming videos, so asking about future plans. So this looks quite maybe appropriate for an A2 level like student who are talking about vlogs. And use these 2, or of course you can also regenerate and come up with more model role plays. And also you can replace, you don't have to be a music vlog or maybe skateboarding. You can be a travel vlogger. You can be a maybe painting vlogger, any vlogger students are interested in, you can come up with a model for them to maybe imitate and to analyze before they come up with their own. So this is how we could use ChatGPT to model good speaking dialogues. And of course, you can also use ChatGPT to play the sound for your student, to give like a audio models as well. Yeah. Hi, Del.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Really nice ideas.
Yes. And can I have 5 more minutes to finish the writing part as well? Taking a little bit longer.
Yeah, we've got quite a few questions to get to, so if you could, then that would be great. If you can wrap it up a little bit quickly, so we can get through the questions.
Yes. So for writing, I think very similar to speaking. So I will go through it quickly. So I would take the secondary course book as an example. So called Gateway to the World, A2 plus level. The unit is about travel. So in this unit, students are going to write an article about travel, like places and destinations. Of course, they will do some brainstorm and get some input, and then focus on the writing structure, thinking about the writing skills before they come to write something. So we will provide students with the words they need to use. For example, adjectives to describe places. There will be some provided vocabulary on the course book, but as a teacher, you probably want to come up with more. So you can ask a ChatGPT to come up with more words to describe places for students. However, I want to warn you that although you set a context for ChatGPT to come up with A2 plus or A1 plus or A2 secondary students, there still will be some words which is above the level. So you as a teacher need to identify that and remove that and come up with some easy ones or level appropriate ones. Yeah, and then you can also ask ChatGPT to come up with sample sentences for your students to read and analyze as samples and templates. Yeah, and as to the level of words, you can use English vocabulary profile to identify which level of these words are. For example, these 2 words are definitely above A2 and A1 plus level, so I want to remove them. So come up with another list which are at the A2 level. Still, I find there are words too difficult. So it is important for teachers to come up with ideas to identify and choose the right content. So these are the process I go through when I do the ChatGPT like content creation. And lastly, I decided to focus on the words from the book. These words are all at the right level. So I just asked ChatGPT to come up with these words with sample sentences for students to refer to. And also, you can write these sample sentences for students to come up with different sentences for them to read. And then you move on to write the paragraph about the holiday place in your country, so where it is. So these are the prompts you can give to ChatGPT for them to come up with model like tests. So I also ask ChatGPT to come up with the information in a table, so that the students will see these information very easily, and for you to identify the right information to use easily as well. So there are 5 destinations for you to choose to write this information about, and with this information to brainstorm, and then they can come up with the task. So an online magazine for young people wants to know about the most popular place in your country. Please write an article about a place in your country. So with these information in mind, we can then come up with an article. So again, this article could be too long or too difficult. You can rewrite them. Okay, make it shorter than 150 words. And then it comes with like different structures. You can ask the ChatGPT to come up with shorter sentences and paragraphs with different structures. And you can of course regenerate and make it better. You can change a great word to another destination. For example, the Forbidden City and any other model texts for places that people can visit on holidays. So so this is an example that we can use ChatGPT to come up with good writing models for your students to brainstorm and come up with content that they can use for their written task. And of course, we can do some assessment as well. So you can ask ChatGPT to correct the following student writing and give specific feedback. So this is one piece of writing I came up with, a lot of grammatical errors. So ChatGPT correct it and give feedback about what mistakes are there, what grammatical errors are there. And I also ask ChatGPT to analyze, to compare the original student writing and the corrected version. So we can see very clearly how the ChatGPT has corrected the grammatical errors and make it the writing better. And I also asked him to analyze the commonly made grammatical errors for that piece of student work. So like the subject verb agreement is really the most outstanding error, and also plural and singular forms, with examples of the errors from that piece of student writing. So this can be really, really useful when we correct students' writing and give feedback to students after reviewing their work. Yes. And this is pretty much about the writing part, and hopefully there are some good ideas for you to go through and try out by yourself using ChatGPT, so that you can maybe apply some of these ideas in the classroom to create games, activities, and also to model good writing and speaking, and also do corrections as well. Okay, so that is my part about how to welcome back, Dal.
Thank you very much. Super, great stuff. Yeah, some really cool ideas there. Just let me share my screen. I'm going to put that quote back up that we had before. 1 second. Actually, there's my Chat GPT, and the quote should be coming up now. There you go. Fantastic. Yeah, some really good ideas. I was really interested actually towards the end, Super. I don't know if you noticed, you use the pronoun he for ChatGPT.
Oh, she.
The pronoun him. You said you can ask him, which is quite interesting. You've humanized the AI already, which was really fun to see you do that. I think I was calling it, but I'm not sure. I think you're obviously a kind of person to humanize the AI. But yeah, some really great ideas. Now, one thing that's coming through, as we can see, if we analyze what's coming through the chat, is the element of plagiarism. So I'm not gonna answer any questions regarding plagiarism today, because we don't have time. But what we are going to do on next Wednesday, hopefully we'll see you all again next Wednesday, because we've got another session which we'll be talking about implications and maybe some of the limitations of AI as well. And we'll be addressing plagiarism, because we had lots of questions from people before the session, and we'll be trying to put those questions into one and answer that question on plagiarism and give people some ideas. I've answered quite a few questions in the Q&A. If you put a question in the Q&A, I've tried to already give you an answer to those questions. Another thing that's coming up is that Google Translate is not always right. ChatGPT is not always right. And this is very important, what you said, Super, that we are the arbiters. We're where it stops. Nothing's going to take away from our expertise, our ability to question the information it gives us, and we should never feel like we aren't going to be important in that respect. And I think with ChatGPT, it's just about getting good at asking the right questions. And if you can get good at asking the right questions, you will get good answers. We had questions like, can ChatGPT generate an audio for the chants? There's other AIs that will do that. One is called Natural Reader, and I'll put that into the chat as well, where you can ask ChatGPT to find to give you the chants, and Natural Reader will then, you can see it here, will then provide you free of charge different accents and different people that can read the chants. So for example, I asked ChatGPT to create a chant. I pasted that into the natural reader.
Elephant, elephant, big and grey. Stomp your feet and march.
I'll just make it a bit faster.
Stomp your feet and march this way. Trunk up high and trunk down low. Swing it left and swing it right. Let's go.
So this
animals, animals.
This natural reader is really cool because I can select such a wide variety of speech, different language, different accents. As I just picked Maisie, who's a child. I can have adults. Super, you've put voice make it in there as well, which is really great. Yeah. Now, other people are asking questions about the being available in the countries that they're in. Now, there are VPNs that you can use. There's a web browser which is free called Opera, which has its own VPN installed, which might get around it if you're not able to use it in your country and you don't have a VPN. But I'm in Thailand, and everything that I've been using today, free of charge, nothing, I haven't paid for anything. Now, if you do pay, you get different functionality. But yeah, all free of charge.
So ChatGPT 4 is now like a paid like a package for users, but ChatGPT 3.5 is still free of charge. And I think also if we don't have ChatGPT, we can use other models like Bing or any other models will also work. Probably there will be slight differences between the way how we use it, but still the idea is the same.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody. We've gone over time a little bit, but we've got a little bit of housekeeping towards the end. Please click on the link that I put in the chat. That will take you to our survey, which really helps us to create the content that you want for future webinars. And also there's a QR on the screen there. So please give us your feedback and let us know how we're doing when it comes to our sessions. Again, you can follow us on our WeChat and our Facebook. So please make sure that you're part of our community and that we can give you all the up-to-date information on events and our products. You will get a certificate from today's session and from the session on next Wednesday. You won't get this certificate because this is from the previous webinar, but you will get a certificate from today's webinar. If it goes in your spam, please check it, and don't worry if you don't get it immediately. Don't forget about change makers. Have a look at this, where you can see lots of superb examples of how kids around, or students around the world are making a difference by sharing the materials that they're doing to really showcase their vision for the future. And the work that they're doing in the classrooms. And you can also add your students' work to this initiative and really give the students a motivation to actually produce some really nice work and get it commented on by global citizens all across our planet.
Yes.
And you can get to the website here. So don't forget, join us on Wednesday for a really great discussion. I will be also contacting people who've asked questions if they would like to join our session and ask their question live to Super and to Blue, who will be with us, joining us from Vietnam on Wednesday. And then following that, me and Mr. Hook will be having hopefully a really deep conversation about AI and Mr. Hook, as I mentioned, is an absolute expert in the field, particularly when it comes to education and ChatGPT, as he's wrote the book on it. So please make sure you join us for those 2 sessions. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of the day wherever you are, and we'll see you again for more on Wednesday, the 13th. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for your participation. Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you next week.
Bye, Super. Thank you.
Bye.